Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about the engine inside of you that literally never stops running. It's one of the most vital and incredible systems in the entire human body. We are talking, of course, about your circulatory system. So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big picture, why this system is so critical in the first place. Then we'll zoom right in on the heart's amazing design. After that, we'll uncover the secret to its perfect rhythm. And finally, we'll get into what it takes to keep this incredible engine running in top condition.
All right, let's jump right into our first section, life's delivery system. Because really, to appreciate just how amazing the heart is, we first have to understand why we even need this whole complicated setup. What is its fundamental job?
Really think about it for a second. You've got trillions of cells, from the ones in your brain to the ones in the tip of your little toe. And every single one of them needs fuel, oxygen, nutrients, to stay alive. So how do they get it? Well, the answer is this absolutely brilliant biological logistics network, the circulatory system.
And what's really cool is that nature basically came up with two main ways to get this job done. You've got the open system, which you'd find in something like an insect or a clam, where blood just kind of sloshes around inside the body. But then you have our setup, the much more sophisticated closed system. And this is the key advantage, right? Our closed system, where blood is always neatly contained inside of vessels, is just way more efficient. It gives our body precise control to send blood exactly where it's needed most. If you start running, your body can flood your leg muscles with oxygen-rich blood. It's a total game changer for complex life.
Okay, so we get why we need this delivery system. Now let's take a look at the incredible engine that drives the whole thing. We're going to take a tour of the human heart's architecture to see how this amazing piece of machinery is actually built.
And get this, the powerhouse for your entire body is only about the size of your own clenched fist. Seriously, make a fist right now. That's about it. It sits there in your chest, nestled right between your lungs, tilted just a little to the left, and it's all tucked away in a protective little bag called the pericardium.
Now, blood doesn't just flood into the heart all at once. It arrives in an orderly way at these two upper chambers, the right and left atria. You can pretty much think of them as the heart's receiving docks, collecting all the blood as it comes back from its trip around the body.
Okay, so from those receiving docks, the blood then moves down into the real powerhouses of the heart, the ventricles. These are the two lower chambers, and they are much bigger and way more muscular. These are the guys that do all the heavy lifting, pumping blood out with enough force to get to the lungs or to the entire rest of the body.
So, how does the heart keep all this blood from flowing the wrong way? Well, it has these four incredible one-way doors, which we call valves. Their job is super simple but absolutely critical. They open up to let blood flow through, and then they snap shut to make sure not a single drop can flow backward. It's a perfect system.
So we've got the structure down, the chambers, the valves, the whole layout. But what actually makes it beat? What's the spark that powers this thing and keeps it all synchronized in that perfect, life-sustaining rhythm?
The secret is a tiny, tiny patch of special tissue up in the right atrium called the sinoatrial node, or SAN for short. This is the heart's own natural pacemaker. And what's truly amazing is that it generates its own electrical signals. It doesn't need the brain to tell it what to do. It's auto-excitable. It just goes.
And that little pacemaker, the SAN, fires off an electrical impulse about 70 to 75 times every single minute. And each one of those electrical zaps is what kicks off a heartbeat. That's exactly where we get that average resting heart rate of about 72 beats per minute.
And every single one of those beats is part of a perfectly timed sequence called the cardiac cycle. And it all happens in just 0.8 seconds. It starts with all four chambers just relaxing and filling up with blood. Then the atria give a little squeeze to top off the ventricles. And then, boom! The ventricles contract with all their might, sending blood on its way. Then everything relaxes and the whole cycle starts over again.
You know that classic lub-dub sound of a heartbeat? Have you ever wondered what's actually making that noise? It's not the muscle contracting. It's the sound of those one-way valves snapping shut. The first sound, the lub, is one set of valves closing, and the second sound, the dub, is the other set closing right after. That's it! The efficiency here is just staggering. In a single minute, each one of those ventricles pumps about 5 liters of blood. To put that into perspective, that's basically the entire volume of blood in your whole body. Your heart circulates all of it in just 60 seconds. Incredible.
And we can actually watch this electrical activity happen. That's what an electrocardiogram or ECG does. It gives us that familiar squiggly line. That first little bump, the P wave, that's the atria contracting. The big spike in the middle, the QRS complex, that's the powerful squeeze of the ventricles. And that last little wave, the T wave, is just the ventricles resetting for the next beat.
So we have this absolutely perfect, elegant system, but it's not invincible. So for our final section, let's talk about what it takes to maintain it and some of the hazards that can pop up when things start to go wrong.
See, our system is called double circulation because the blood really makes two distinct loops. First, there's the pulmonary circuit. The right side of the heart pumps blood to the lungs to drop off carbon dioxide and pick up a fresh batch of oxygen. Then, that newly oxygenated blood comes back to the left side of the heart, which pumps it out on the second loop, the systemic circuit, which delivers that oxygen to every other part of the body.
And understanding all this is so important because, unfortunately, things can go wrong. There are few common disorders that can affect how well this system works. Hypertension, which is just high blood pressure, puts a constant strain on everything. Coronary artery disease, or CAD, is when the arteries that feed the heart muscle itself get clogged. These issues can lead to things like angina, which is chest pain, or in really serious cases to heart failure.
So when you put it all together, it's just truly remarkable. That fist-sized engine in your chest performs this perfect, life-giving cycle over 100,000 times, every single day, without you ever having to think about it. Understanding how it all works is really the first and most important step. So the final question is, how will you protect it?